The next presentation is from Marc Kirchhoff. Mr. Kirchhoff is Director for International Key Account Management at Trumpf Laser, also at Systemtechnik GmbH. And today he represents the German Association for Mechanical and Plant Engineering. And he will talk about industry and research as mutual pacemakers. We are very happy to have you here, Marc. And yeah, just the stage is yours.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Thomas, for the introduction, and thanks for giving me and the VDMA the possibility to show up a little bit from our topics, which we are dealing with. So as there are no questions, I think sound as picture is working fine, so you can see my screen and hear me quite well. So the topic of industry and research in the partnership is not a new topic. I think you all know, and also Saskia has shown some really nice examples on how research and industry works together, and this is something I would also like to spend some time on during my presentations. So before coming to the topic, please allow me a few words on Trumpf and the VDMA. So first of all, we as Trumpf, which is the company I'm getting paid from, in the end, besides my activities in the VDMA, we are machine building companies with a focus on laser technology. So that means we are developing, producing, and selling lasers for more or less every kind of laser-based production technology. It could be welding, cutting, could be drying of electrodes, but also some kinds of cleaning, ablation, structuring, so whatever is needed and where the laser can be used for. And besides the battery production, where many of our lasers are going into at the moment and where lots of really nice applications are to find, we are having applications, as mentioned, in the mobility, but also lots of applications in the consumer electronics, in the medical, science, watches, jewelry. So the good thing about the laser for us, of course, is you can find applications in more or less every industry you can find all around the world. Yeah, and as mentioned, my second job is in the board of the VDMA. So also here, just a few words that you know where we are. You know that the VDMA is the Association for Machine Building for machine building companies. It's huge organization with many working groups inside. And one of the working groups is the battery production division, where we focused on the battery cell production, but also on all the technologies for production of modules, battery packs, and so on. So in the end, the complete process chain which is needed to supply batteries. In the past, the focus was more on consumer electronic batteries, but as you can think of in the last few years, and I think also in the near future and mid-future, the focus will be mainly on the automotive applications. If you have a look, at our member companies, you can find lots of companies. I think it's more than 100 companies at the moment, with different topics, with different solutions. So may it be coating, may it be calendaring, but also sensor technologies, handling companies, robotic companies. So with this group, we are really giving a complete picture of the machine building industry, which have something or some solutions for the battery production in Europe. And if you want to find out what these companies are doing, so please allow me this small advertisement. We have this industry guide for battery production. So whenever you want to find out who can deal with handling for batteries or laser processing or whatever, you can just have a look here and find the right contact person, not only for R&D processes, but also, of course, for industrial scale solutions. Okay, after this, why should we work together, industry and research? And I think this picture gives a quite nice impression why we should do this. The technologies gets more and more complex. I would not say complicated, it's more complex. We have to, let's say, defend the European machine building market a little bit against all the others worldwide. So we always have to be a little bit ahead in terms of technology, in terms of technological benefits and so on. And that's why we, of course, need new ideas, we need new proof of concepts, we need new developments to always keep up with our solutions. What you can see here is just a picture out of one of our labs that we are doing in Ditzing, have developed a technology. It's called EUV. It's for semiconductor industry, so nothing to do with the battery production, but it shows quite good, I think, how it can work, because the project behind it, before we have sold the first laser system, I think it took us 10 to 15 years of development. It starts with an idea together with a university. Then there have been 3 to 4 partners involved, R&D sites and industrial partners, to bring this technology on the street. And luckily nowadays it's more or less a standard, the next standard for the semiconductor manufacturing. So real good example on what could be the success if industry and research works closely together on the same target and keep on doing it for several years. Yeah, as mentioned already, we are pushed by many things. We means the machine building companies, and also, of course, the producers of battery cells, modules, packs, whatever. And therefore, we always need new ideas. We need new ideas for fulfilling the customer requirements, to create some industrial solutions, to improve what is already existing. So there are many things coming up. Besides all the technical things, also the topic of sustainability becomes more and more important, which is of course quite good in many terms. But besides the ideas, we of course need an industrial realization, because without this industrial realization, the best idea is for us nothing in the end. So that's where we as an industry and machine building industry comes in, to make a production line out of an industry, out of an idea after several years and after several packages of development. For this, and to find out how to focus on the development, because I think you are aware of, there are so many things you can target on with R&D projects. We have established since many years now a road mapping process inside the VDMA, where we are targeting and try to answer the core question in the beginning, of course. Is an attractive market, and where is it? And what can we do as machine building companies to participate on this? And of course, the question behind it is then, in the next step, what are the requirements we have to fulfill? So that means which barriers we have to overcome, which targets we have to achieve, which technical solution we have to supply to the markets. And this is something we are not doing by ourselves, only outside or only in our group of the companies. We are doing it together with several institutes. You can see here on the bottom line, it's a university in Aachen from Braunschweig, and also, of course, supported by the FFB. And there we try to bring together all the knowledge from R&D institutes and from the industries, with the main target, as mentioned, to focus our capacities on the right approaches, on the right targets, and not to spend too much money on things which will not pay off later on. As mentioned, we are trying with this roadmap to make it more concrete where we needs research. We are doing it by pointing out we call it red brick walls, and I will show you an example on the next slides. And this is always based on the needs from the market. So that means, and this is, I think, quite unique, but it's a real good point from this roadmap. We are not starting with a technical solution. So let's take the Trump example. We are not starting with a laser process and try to find the best application for it. We are always starting with the needs from the markets, with the needs from our customers, and try to find out what is needed to fulfill these needs in the next, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, or even more years if needed. We are doing this road mapping more or less every 2 or 3 years. So the last update is from 2020, so it's quite old, to be honest, 2 years now. At the moment, we have started the next update process. So that means we are at the moment developing the new roadmap, and the publication is planned in the next year. So that means in 2023. So just as an example, and it's not the goal now to explain all technology details behind it, but just to give you a feeling how we are doing this road mapping process, and in the end, how R&D and industry is working together. So we start with the target, in this case in 2024, with some requirements from the manufacturers in terms of new joining technologies. In this case, it could be possible that the requirement is to have joining technologies which are recyclable. That means where you can easily disassemble battery cells later on to bring the materials back in the process. And starting with these requirements, where there is no or not sufficient solution at the moment, we are going back, so to say, in time. We are asking what is needed from the mechanical side, from the machine building side. Is there already something available, or do we have to adapt something? And of course, we are always trying or asking at the same times what is needed on the R&D side. And this is nothing which you can do completely separated from each other, because of course there's some impact from mechanical to R&D, from R&D to the mechanical solutions. So that's why we are doing these kind of road mapping in multi-hour workshops to bring all the knowledge together. And if you go back then, so to say, in time, and as mentioned, this is from the version from 2020, you can find out that we have to solve some topics around flexible contacting. We have to solve some topics in the terms of alternative contacting or whatever. And then you have already some laser solutions or whatever, but this is also something you have to develop further on to fulfill the requirements later on. A similar way of working with this could be the example Saskia presented in the speech before. So for example, for the laser coating, so it was processed in a similar way, where we find out that there is a need, of course, to reduce the energy consumption of these drying processes, and then, for example, infrared or laser comes up to be researched in the near future. As mentioned, these these roadmaps are quite established now. It helps a lot to focus on the right topics, to discuss about the goals, because often it is that made R&D or made the machine building companies thinking about a real nice solution which can, I don't know, improve everything, but it's not targeting any requirement of the customer. And that's why it's so important to involve also here the end customers, the users in the end, in this process. One example, besides the road mapping process, and I think there was a speech this morning, is a UK BIP initiative in the UK, which is now also established since a few months and years. I think I don't have to spend too much time on the manufacturing process here. There have been many, a complete production line, of course, with participation from German and European suppliers, also from Asian suppliers. And the goal, of course, is to set up a complete production line and then to solve some questions, to do some research on it, and of course, to improve the manufacturing process in the future. And also here, the reason is why should we do this? Why do we need these kind of pilot lines? And I've done it together with my colleagues from the VDMA from two sides. One is the machine suppliers and or manufacturers view. For us, it's a way where we can do some practicing for mass production. It's not so easy for us as machine builders to realize these mass production tests, because normally we only building up our machines. We don't have a complete dry room or whatever in our fabs. So that's why we really need these kind of cooperations with the R&D institutes. We have the possibilities here for the optimization, especially because we are here able to not only assume how the material comes in and what are the next steps doing, we really can see it directly. So we have a direct feedback loop on what is the impact of our single component, our single machine for the complete process chain. Yeah, a learning field, I think it's quite established. We can use it directly for developing or bringing up problems to, of course, find solutions for it, and therefore to improve the complete production cell process for battery production. One of the topics which is also quite important for us as machine builders is that we can organize and use it for reference visits on a production scale. Also here, it's not only that we can show our single component, we can show, so to say, our single component in production. And that's, of course, even more important for the customers, as they don't want to buy a single coater or something like this. They want to buy a complete solution in the end for their facilities. And of course, we can show that not only Asian companies can build up these kind of machines, it's also possible from German and European machine builders. Sometimes it's in the mindset that we from Germany, from Europe, are not on the same level, but this is really to show it's not the true. We are really competitive to what is available on the market. So from the other side, we have these cell manufacturers, which in the end are the customers from us, which are buying our machines. They can use these kind of pilot lines and therefore use these corporations also to see what's happening if they are not only doing it in their labs, but if they do it in terms of real volume, as Saskia already showed in the FFB approach. They can show up how to scale and scale up their production. Often, in Germany you would say the devil is in the detail. So you really find out what problems comes up only if you do this kind of scaling up before, of course, setting up a complete production line. You can understand the machinery and processes, but you can also understand what are the interfaces between it, how they are working together, what is the influence behind it. If you connect all the machines to a complete production line, you can test new chemistry, you can test new processes without shutting down your main production line. And what is also really important, and I will pay a little bit on attention on it later on, is you can use these kind of facilities worldwide to educate your people for the production stuff, and also for us as machine builders to get more expert in this field of battery production. And that's exactly what I just mentioned. So often we are talking a lot about technologies. We are talking a lot about new technologies, improving machines, improving processes, and sometimes we forget a little bit about that we also need skilled people to deal and handle these machines later on. And we need it in all three steps, so to say. Of course, we need high educated people in our machine building companies to develop our machines, also to educate our customers to use our machines in the best way they can use it, and also to create new business ideas. So the laser drying is a nice example where you just think out of the box, where you can use the laser for other technologies. As mentioned, we use it, or we need the skilled people at our customer sites, also there to get most of their machines, to develop new products. And of course, not to forget, we need these people also in the R&D institutes to bring in their new ideas, to be creative and develop new processes. And of course, then to educate new people, which then hopefully starts in one of our machine building companies, and the process starts again and again. And this is a kind of a self-speeding up process, hopefully. And we have proven this many, many times in the past in Germany and in Europe. So if you take a look in the well-established conventional powertrain applications in the automotive, it works really well. We have really good institutes there. We have really good machine builders there. We have really high educated people at the customers, and they are pushing the limits year by year. And I think we can use this as a blueprint now for also for the battery production and for the battery cell production for the next years. So to bring it together a little bit, there could be the question now, why should we cooperate once more now with the FFB from the VDMA side? Because there are already some research production lines. There are already these kind of pilot lines there. And I think it's not surprising that our targets in the cooperation between VDMA and FFB is to strengthen our global competitiveness from the European battery manufacturing side. We want to speed up the research. So also here in the past, it was often that it really takes too long to say from industry side to bring in from or to come from an idea to an R&D project to a solution. It could take several years. So our hope and our target here is to really speed it up, to be faster by focusing on the right topic. Of course, in the end, we want to sell machines. That's where we are living from. That's why we want to create these kind of USPs for us. And we want to optimize our machines to contribute, of course, to cost, of course, to quality, but also as shown to the topics of sustainability, which is a major important topic, which becomes even more important, and which can be a real USP for us out of Europe for the next months and years, I think. To do this, of course, we have a wide range of topics. We can do research projects, we can procurement. I think that's nothing I have to spend too much time on. What I would like to highlight a little bit is what we see as a different, also from the VDMA side. And this was also shown in the presentation before from the FFB approach. With this lab line, which is now built up, we are really able to show a high volume production process, which is scalable, where we really can test our equipment. May it be in reality or may it be virtual, so to say, where we can just test some new equipment, try to find out what could be the impact on the complete process parameters and so on. And of course, we can really improve the process, and that means the overall process. So not to spend too much time on what, let's say, for just improving the laser process, if there is no impact on the complete production line. By having the look on and the understanding of the complete process chain, we can really spend our capacities, our investment on what is needed to, in the end, realize a real nice solution for our customers in the end. Yeah, and that's it. So I'm really looking forward to the cooperation. I'm really looking forward now if there are some questions. Yeah, let's start the cooperation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Marc, for your nice presentation. I would like to ask the very first question, because during your talk you mentioned several times the battery production roadmap published by the VDMA. How can our participants get access to this document?
I think the easiest way is to have a look on the VDMA site. There you can find a download link. If possible, Thomas, I can also send you the link. Maybe you can directly put it in the chat or something like this. Yeah. So it's free.
It's publicly available, right?
Yeah, it is. It is, exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Any questions out of the audience? Not yet. So I have a question for you. It seems to be that the VDMA and also TRUMPF has a close connection to players out of the research landscape. How can this collaboration between industry and research further strengthened, in your opinion?
What do you mean? How to strengthen cooperation, or?
Yeah, in general, like the cooperation between players out of the industry and players out of the research. Is there any thoughts on your side how such collaborations in general could be strengthened or better set up or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think if we are talking about bilateral projects between R&D and between industrial companies, it's working quite good already, especially with these kind of non-direct university approaches like these pilot lines. If I could bring in a wish from my side, what could really speed up the topic is to speed up the let's say approval process for governmental funded projects. This is really one of the topics which is sometimes a real pain for us as our industry companies. If you think about a typical R&D idea where you have to bring in your first ideas and you have to bring in your complete paperwork, it could take roughly easily up to 1 year, sometimes even more. And during this time, we as an industry company, we cannot wait in the end, because the market is just running away. So this would be my real wish, where we can really improve this kind of cooperation. And I think there could be several ideas how to do it. It would take more than 20 minutes for today, I think, but this could be a really good approach.
Okay, Marc, thank you for your open words to that point. Thank you for your presentation.